Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue with the same module, that is a research skill that we have started on the Monday class, in the Monday's class. So we have discussed about the chapter number 1 as well as the part of the chapter number 2 in these two classes. Today I'm going to continue with the same chapter, that is the chapter number 2, that is the focus, that is how to focus on this one. But before this, let's take a quick review what we have covered in the last class, that is in the yesterday's class, right? So let's start with the previous class session, and that is the last class session what we have covered in the last class. So in the last class we have studied about this model, that is what about this model and how to use this model, that is the basic model of the production or basic model of the approach or basic developmental approach to the research, that is how the research will be developed among the management, among the development, among the training. So there are 5 parts, 5 phases that is used in this one. So that starts with the planning, then there is the information retrieval, then information processing, then sharing, then evaluation. So that starts first with the planning. So there are 5 stages. One is the planning, then information retrieval, then information processing, then information sharing, and at last there is the evaluation. And these 5 parts also contain multiple options, like we have discussed. How to establish the topic, how to identify the information sources, that is what are the various information sources by which we can gather the information, or from the which we can gather the information. Then identify the audience, that is what is the audience to whom or for which we are going to write the content. Then next is establish the evaluation criteria. So these are all covered under the planning part, that is the planning, that is the first phase of the development approach to the research, that is the first part, right? Then there is the information retrieval, that is how to retrieve the information, that is locate resources, collect resources, review processes. Then information processing, that is how to choose the relevant information, that is information processing. What are the various components that is used for how to make the connections and the inferences and create, revise and the edit, that is used with the information processing. Then next is the information sharing, that is how to share the information, that is the information sharing, that is also the one of the important concept of this one, that is the information sharing. The next is the evaluation, that after information sharing there is the evaluation. This is the developmental approach to the research, and this is the management, that is the first part till development. Larry, are you able to hear me? You are in the session or no? Hello Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello. And this says this is the cooperative planning and the implementation, that there should be a proper planning and the implementation part that should take place to make the research develop, or to develop the research that starts from the management and go till the development. So there are 5 phases basically. One is the planning, one is the information retrieval, one is the information processing, then information sharing, then evaluation. 5 phases, and with the help of 5 phases there will be a development in the research. Then we have discussed about the overview. So this is the introduction about this one. Then this is the overview. That is acts as a, or that behave the research as a continuum. So this acts as a, or behave as a research as a continuum. So the beginning of the research is basically curiosity. Its essence is discriminant, and its goal truth and the dust. So whenever we begin the research, that is with the curiosity, and its essence is discernment, and its goal truth and the justice. Then we have studied about the research as a consortium or continuum, that is how to search the result as a continuum. So this document presents a research model that contains both a continuum of research procedures and skills, and continuum of levels of research, that is introductory to the advanced. So this starts with the introduction and moves to the advanced part. So this document presents a result model or research model that contains both a continuum of the research procedures and the skills, and a continuum of the levels of the research. Basically, there are various stages, there are various levels of the research. The stage 1 is the planning, then stage 2 is the information retrieval, then stage 3 information processing, sharing, evaluation. This is from the introductory part to the advanced level part, right? So this behaves a research, or this acts a research, or this searches a research as a research as a continuum. So this is theory that is given, that is this is the first stage by which we can, or the student begin by preparing the research, that is the planning process, then information gathering. So it depends on the student to student, how the student will gather this information, or the how student will gather that information. And the continuum of levels of research, introductory to the advanced, indicate that student will progress as they experience more research activity from the teacher. That is directed learning to the student directed learning. That means teacher directed learning to the student directed learning, that is move from the various activities, move from the teacher to the student. And first time student researchers long on curiosity but short on the expertise will require considerable teacher assistance. So first time whenever the student are the researchers research something, that is there is a long on curiosity, there is some curiosity among the student but short on the expertise, but there is some short on the expertise that requires a assistance from the teacher. The student can take the considerable teacher assistance because of the variance in the background and the exposure, because it depends on the teacher to teacher, it depends on the student teach student, because every student is not of the same background, same knowledgeable, right? So because of the variance in the background and the exposure, student may be at this introductory stage at different ages. So this requires the support from the teacher. And as they progress from the introductory level to the advanced level, students will become more discerning and more independent researchers. Sharper thinking skills and an enlarged repertoire of problem solving become to fore. Now, these are the various questions that we have discussed. Then, how to use the research, that is how to use the research, what is the research, and what is the main quality, what is the main crux of the using the research. So quality of any library media program must be judged in relation to each school's educational philosophy and its educational objective. That means whenever I want to make find out the quality of any program, that must be judged in relation to the school's educational policy or philosophy. What is the educational philosophy, and what is the educational objective that is used or that is used in research. And both the continuum of research procedure and the skills and the continuum of levels of research are flexible. So whether we are using the continuum of research, whether we are using the continuum of levels of the research, that are more flexible, that is changing from the different part to part. And in the elementary classes, that is from the first to the fifth, the teacher often teach the research skills in the complete curriculum units. But in the secondary classes, it is going through the to impress the research skills throughout the total curriculum, emphasizing some more than the other in different projects. Now, come to the chapter number 2, that is focus. That is, this chapter is useful to me. This is the question. So teachers who are unfamiliar with integrating research into the curriculum will find valuable background information in this chapter. So whenever I want to integrate something into the curriculum, so how can I teach the student of the primary classes that become, or as a teacher, how could I see the research, how could I make the research that is integrated by using the focus that is covered in this chapter. So teachers who are unfamiliar with integrating research will find valuable background information in this chapter. Now, what will I find in this chapter? So there are various components that is covered in this chapter. The three main components that is covered in this chapter is the research activity, student teacher, and resources that are listed and the prescribed. This is a picture that shows how the teacher will gather the information, or how the teacher will integrate the research information into the elementary education. Now, next is the focus on the research. That is, what is the research, how it is focused, or what is the why we focus on the research. So that is the focus on the research. So first of all, this is the definition of the research. This definition says research is the ability, that means it is the ability to investigate. So if I want to investigate anything, but in a systematic manner and under observation in life, that is known as the research. So this is research is the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under your observation in the life. That is a research. So it is the ability to invest systematically and truly all that comes under your observation in the life. Now, taking the philosopher's advice, a systematic investigation of the word research reveals the literal meaning of the repeated, going over and looking through the to find the things. That is a search. That means a research. Now, if I want to put together, we conclude that research is a process that seeks an answer to a question. That is very simple line. So if I want to find the answer to a question, that is a research. I am searching something, that is a research. Right? But this research must be done in a systematic manner. That is the main crux, that is the main aim of the research. That is, whenever I want to find any answer, that answer must be find out in a systematic manner. Those systematic skills and procedure that brings a seeker or seeker, that is who wants to get something close to the answer, are the focus of this document. That is a research. This is one of the example that the one of the lady is searching or seeking out the research activity, that is searching the activities by the student, and she is optimizing or supervising what they are doing. So this is only a focus on the research. Now focus on the students. If we believe that research and the study skill or the information skills or whatever we want to call them are the important, then there must be a systematic approach to their development. So if I believe, or if we believe that the research and the study skills or the information skills are important, so if we believe that the research are the important, then there must be a systematic approach to their development. That there will be a systematic approach that is going to the development of the research. There will be a systematic approach. Students need research skills to shape their search for the answer. A systematic approach to the development of these skills will yield students ready for independent problem solving and lifelong learning. So whatever the skills, whatever the criteria that is using, that is taken by the research, that is taken by the problem solving criteria. And the key idea is to teach a process that can be transferred to any research situation. The main idea is to teach a process, that is how to teach a process that can be transferred to any research situation. That is the main crux, that is the main idea, to teach a process. Now, students learn research skills more readily when skills are integrated with the curriculum. So, when the students will get the research skills more readily when the skills are integrated with curriculum. If I taught you one subject that includes the research part, so you supposed to do, you have to do. That is, it's a compulsion. In the same way, whenever I want the student learn the research, when the skills are integrated with the curriculum, or when the skills are taught in a manner that the teacher gain the interest of the students, that are taught with the focus on developing independent learners and the critical thinkers, and when skills are viewed by the students as relevant to their needs, and when skills are related to the students past experiences. So this is one of the important point. When the skills are related to the student past experiences, that is, what is the past experience, how they are using the past experience, and when they are shared through the cooperative learning, that is, when they are shared to the cooperative learning, that is also the main part, that is that learning the research skills. So students learn the research skill when the skills are very important or they are shared through the cooperative learning. So these are the various options, these are the various points that says that the student learn the research skills more readily, or we can say the more frequently or more actively, when the skills are integrated with the curriculum, when skills are taught with the focus on developing the independent learners, when skills are viewed by the students as well as their needs, when skills are related to the student past experiences, and when they are shared through the cooperative learning. So there will be a cooperative learning, that is also the main goal of the, or main part by which the student gain the most important part. Using this or these same process skills as they proceed from the primary grades through the higher education or high school will enable students to become familiar with the steps for the research, that is they are becoming more familiar with the steps that is required for the research, understand the framework that supports the searching for the information. So understand the framework, then internalize a variety of research procedures for independent use, So these are the various curriculums. These are the various, we can say, the curriculum or the considerable things that may proceed from the primary grade to the higher education, that enables the student to become familiar with the steps that is required for the research, understand the framework that supports the searching for the information, internalize a variety of research activity for the independent usage, and adapt the procedure to the situation. Now, this is focus on the student. That is how we focus on the student, how we develop the research in the students. Now, next part is focus on the teacher and the teacher librarian. That is how to focus or what to focus on the teacher librarian. How what is the focus on the students, or how the research will be focused on the student, or how we develop the research skills in the among the teachers. A school library program under the direction of a teacher librarian who is skilled in cooperative planning and teaching provides the most effective environment for the teaching of research skills and the procedure. This is most important line. So a school library program under the direction of teacher librarian. So there is a program that is developed or that is scheduled under the direction of teacher and the librarian who is skilled, but the condition is that the teacher must be skilled in the cooperative planning and the teaching. So there that teacher must be skilled or must have a sufficient tools in cooperative planning and the teaching that provides the most effective environment. So when they have a skill, or when the teacher have a skills in the cooperative planning and the teaching, the teacher provides the most effective environment for the teaching of research skills and the procedures. And cooperation between teacher librarian and the subject area teachers in the development of effectively planned research-based research activity ensure that students are taught the research skills as well as the subject content. That is the most important part. So there will be a proper coordination, or there will be a good coordination, not the proper coordination, that the coordination must be good among the teacher librarian who is scheduling the program as well as the subject area teachers in the development of effectively planned resource based research activity that ensures that the students are taught the research skills as well as the subject content. However, in the absence of a teacher librarian, professional direction and the involvement will be guided by the principal and the teaching staff of the school. Policy, guidelines, procedures, and the standards for school libraries in Alberta that is available, that is one of the part. This is one of the important line, that is in the absence of a teacher librarian. So if the teacher librarian is not available who is scheduling the program for the research skills, professional direction and the involvement. There should be a professional direction that anyone who is in a profession, who is a professional person, and the involvement will be provided by the principal. So any principal of the school will be provided that, yeah, he or she is a concerned person or the best person in place of the teacher librarian, that is he or she is professional and involved so many things and teaching staff of the school. And to integrate research skills into the curriculum, the teacher and or teacher librarian should. So whenever we are integrated research skills into the curriculum, the teacher and or teacher librarian should understand the skills involved in the research. That is understand the skills. What are the various skills that is involved in the research? Whenever we want to integrate the research skills into the curriculum, the teacher and or teacher librarian, whether it may be a teacher, whether it may be a teacher librarian, that should understand the skills involved in the research. That is, what are the various skills that is used, that is involved in the research. Be committed to student-centered learning. That is, be committed to the student-centered learning, and plan for the research skills and thinking skill development. So this is also one of the part to integrate this there should be a plan for the research skills and thinking skill development, and the teacher must be flexible in the teaching styles. There are multiple teaching styles that is used, so teacher must be flexible in the teaching styles and be aware of children's needs and the capabilities, and the teacher must be aware of the children's needs and the capabilities, and the teacher also adapt the new findings in the learning theories and the child development. There should be adaptable in the new findings in the learning theory, that is what is the learning theory, and the child development. This is the how to integrate the research skills into the curriculum. Now This is the focus on the student, that is how to or what are the various considerations that must be carried out, that is used to focus on the students. So integrate the research skills into the curriculum. The teacher and the student librarian or teacher librarian should. These are the various criteria by which the teacher librarian should integrate into the content into the curriculum. The first part is understand the skills involved in the research. That is, understand what are the various research skills that is used in the research. Be committed to the student-centered learning. That is, they are be committed in the student-centered learning. Then plan for the research skills and thinking skill development. That is, they are planning for the research skills whenever they have to integrate into the curriculum and the thinking skill development. Then be flexible in the teaching styles. That is, the student librarian must be flexible in the teaching style so that they adapt any style of the teaching. Be aware of the children's needs and the capability. It is not that I'm teaching you anything, but as per their requirement, we are building that Excel course, and for that Excel course, we are taking the children's, that is our participant, that is you, children's needs and the capability. That is, what's your needs, what's your capabilities. Then adapt to the new findings in the learning theory and the child development. So teacher also adapt to the new findings, new concepts, updated programming languages, for example, and the child development, that is the pedagogy. So this is the main crux, that is the main part, that is how they develop the learning theories, how they develop or integrate the research skills into the curriculum. Now, what is the focus on the teacher as a facilitator model? That is how the teacher will be, or what is the focus on the teacher as a facilitator model? Facilitator model. What is the student? What is the teacher facilitator model that facilitate the student? That is what is to be do, what has to be do, what is to be done. That is the main part, or this is the main part of the focus on the student as a facilitator model. So next is the focus on the teacher as a facilitator. So how the teacher will act as a facilitator to guide the students. So as students work through the research steps, the teacher must motivate, must facilitate the student. These are the various steps by which, or these are the various points by which the teacher is acting as a facilitator model, that is guiding the students. The teacher must motivate the student to locate, analyze and use the information. Motivate means encourage the students to locate what is the finding, analyze and use the information. Then also assess the student or teacher or assess the students to clarify thinking through the questioning. That is, assess the students to clarify the thinking. If there is any doubt in your mind, you clear from me. In the same way, the teacher must assess the student to clarify the thinking through the questioning, proper questioning. So student should ask any question. Paraphrasing means compiling a whole crux of the class. For example, if I'm taking a class, I'm at last crux, or we can say the compile what we have covered in the today's class or in the yesterday's class. That is a paraphrasing. And talking about or talking through the task, that is they are talked about the task, that is what is the task, how it is used. That is the main role of the teacher as a facilitator model. So first is motivate the student, then assist the students. Third one is provide the student with opportunities to record the information. I'm not saying that I'm talking and you are not able to support or write anything. Also, that also the role of the teacher, that provides the student with the opportunities, that is what are the various opportunities to record the information. The next is provide the students with the opportunities to focus on the steps required to complete the task. That is also provides the students with the opportunities, that is what are the various opportunities that is used to focus on the steps, that is what are the various steps that is required to complete the task. That is you go this one, you go to this side, you get this information from this side, you will search this information from this book. That means guiding the students with the proper opportunities, proper, we can say, the knowledgeable things to focus on the steps that is required to complete the research. That is what are the findings and where these findings can be find out. Then next is individualized teaching. So there should be a individualized teaching. The teacher also individualize the teaching, that teacher must focus on each and every student individually, not that or only the creamy students that are covered, or that are the most intelligent students, the teacher should cover only those students. No. Or the students should cover only those students who are the front benchers. No. But the main role of the teacher or the main focus on the teacher is to facilitate, as a facilitator, to focus on each and every student, that is provide students with opportunities to focus on the steps that is required to complete the task. The next is individualizes teaching. So the teacher must also individualize the teaching, that is focus individually on each and every student. Then evaluate the student progress in content and the process area, that is student also evaluate the student progress in the content. Suppose for example I'm giving you an assignment. I told you that if there is any doubt in the assignment, you will ask the doubts from me. So that means at each every steps, the students or the teacher should guide the students or take the progress of the student. That is, what is the progress of the student? So evaluate the student progress in content and the process areas. Then models the research behaviors. Example, demonstrating and modeling the problem solving process. That is, the models the research behavior. That is, what is the research behavior? Then facilitates and model questioning behaviors. That means this is also the role of the student as a, or sorry, role of the teacher as a facilitator, that the teacher must facilitate and the model questioning behavior, that he or she being a teacher must ask the questions from the students on a regular basis so that the flow will be maintained among the students. So that facilitates and model the questioning behavior. Example, providing the opportunities to develop and ask the question. It also, or he or she also provides the opportunity to the student that he or she may frequently, or we can say the frankly ask a question from the teachers. Then next is focus on the resources. That is, a resource-based research activity also requires access to an adequate quantity and a variety of appropriate, up-to-date print and non-print resources from the school library. So how to focus on the resources? So resource-based research activities required access to an adequate quantity. That is, there must be access to an adequate quantity that is required and a variety of appropriate, up-to-date print and non-print resources from the school library. That the resource-based activities must be adequate or must be of the adequate quantity. That is not that if the student is going for the research activity, the resources are not available. That is not the main crux, or that is not the main part, because if the resources are not available, how the student will get the resources, how the student will get the or develop the skills for the research, or how to do the research in a systematic way. The resources is available efficiently and effectively or in a proper quantity so that they can access to an adequate quantity and the variety of appropriate, up-to-date print and non-print resources from the school library and other libraries and the community and the other sources. That is a resource-based research activity. And a wide selection of information sources expands classroom resources and allows the teacher and the student to meet individual learning needs. If there is a wide selection of the information sources that is used, that expands the classroom resources and also allows the teacher and the students to meet the individual learning needs. That is, there should be an individual learning needs that is required, that is used to develop the competency in the learning. So there is a wide selection of the information sources that expands the classroom resources. So there is a wide selection, that means there should be a proper selection of the information that is used in terms of the information sources that expands the classroom resources. That means there is sufficient resources that is available in the classroom for the research that is carried out by the teacher or the student, and also allow the teacher and the student to meet individual learnings needs and to develop the competency in the reading. Writing, speaking, listening and viewing. That means they develop the competency in the reading, writing, speaking, listening and viewing the content. That is on the resources. Suggested minimum resource standards for the Alberta school libraries are indicated in focus in learning. That means next topic is the focus on the learning, that is indicated in this one. But this focus on the resources means there should be a minimum or the efficient resources that is used for the research skills. Throughout this document, teacher refers to the teacher and or student librarian. That is, uh, throughout the document, the teacher refers to the student or teacher and or teacher librarian. This is the second chapter that focus on the student. So this is the focus, that is chapter number 2, that is a focus on the student, focus on the research, focus on the activities that is used Focus on the resources that is used in this one. So that is the chapter number 2, and the main crux is that this is teachers who are unfamiliar with integrating the resources will get the familiar will find the valuable background information in this chapter. And there are 3 components that is covered in this chapter, that is the research activity, student, teacher, and the resources that are listed and described. This is the diagram. Then focus on the research, that is how to focus on the research. Then focus on the student. Then focus on the teacher and the teacher librarian. Then focus on the teacher as a facilitator model. Then focus on the resources. That means for doing the research systematically, or for doing the efficient research skills, that in a systematic manner, these are the various focuses everyone or any student, any teacher who is doing the research, that must be focused on the teacher, that must be focused on the student, that must be focused on the resources, that must be focused on the content available. So throughout this document, the teacher refers to the teacher and or teacher librarian. Now, chapter number 3 is the research, the component. That is, what are the various components of this, what are the various components of the research. So let's start this chapter, that is a research, the component. That is, what are the various components that is covered in this one. Now, these are the various questions. There is the main part of the question. Oh, is this chapter useful to me? Now, what is the main crux, or what is the main part of this chapter? What is the main scenario of this chapter? This says the total overview of the research skills and the procedures is presented in this chapter. That is, total overview means whatever the content that is used in the research skills, that is total, in totality, whatever the content that is, or whatever the material that is used for the research skill, that is covered, or total overview of the research skills and the procedures is presented in this chapter. And this information is useful to all the teacher. So if any teacher is interested in gathering the information, this chapter is very important in gathering the information, and this is useful to all the teachers. Now the next question is, what will I find in this chapter? So first is this chapter useful to me? Yes, this chapter is useful to the teachers because it gives the overview of the research skills, or total overview of the research skills. Now, next is, what will I find in this chapter? In this chapter, you will find the research model. That is, for example, the development model that we have discussed. So how the growth will come, or how the various research will be generated, or what are the various skills for the research. That is the research model. The next is the research skills continuum and the research level continuum. So in this chapter, we will study about the research models. What are the various research models, and what are the various research skills continuum, and what are the various levels of the continuum, or what are the various research level continuum. So one is the research model, then research skills continuum, and the research level continuum. Now, starting is the, or this is the code that is given over here. The method of teaching which approaches more nearly to the method of investigation is incomparably the best, since not content with serving up a few barren and lifeless truths. It reaches to the stock from where they grow. This is the code that is given by the Edmund Burke. So this says the method of the teaching. So whatever the method we are using for the teaching, which approaches most clearly to the, or nearly to the method of the investigation, that is a what is the best way of teaching that most, or that is carried out, or that is going through the, or nearly to the method of investigation, that is carried out to the method of investigation, is incomparably the best. So whatever the approach that is giving to the investigation, that is the best approach, since not content with serving up a few barren. That means whatever the investigation, whatever the approach we are taking for the investigation, that is not barren, that is not taking up, that is not serving up a few barren and the lifeless truth, it reaches to the stock, it reaches to the flow from where they grow, it reaches to the warehouse from which they grow. That is the main part. So the starting line, again I'm repeating, the whatever the approach that is used for the teaching, the method that is used for the teaching, that is most nearly to the method of investigation, that is incomparably the best. That is a method of investigation is the best, and since not content with serving up a few barren and lifeless truths. So whatever the truth that is used, that is a crux, that is a lifeless truth, it reaches to the stalk from where they grow. That is the Edmund or the Edmund Burke. Now, both the research skills continuum and the research level continuum detailed in this chapter are centered on the investigation. So this is a table that shows what are the various steps. So let's take a break right now. Then after the break, we'll be moving to this table. So let's take a break. And remember, after the break, don't miss the class, Larry, because today I'm going to share the new assignment for you, that is a computer system. So don't leave the class without taking the assignment. All right, let's take a break right now. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. So this is the code that is given by the Edmund Burke. That is a method of teaching that is used. That is a method of investigation. That is the best investigation method that is used, since not the content that is serving up the content. That is a view barren and the lifeless truth, that reaches to the stock from where which they grow. That means the warehouse that is available, that is the content that is used for this one. So the method of the teaching is most probably to the method of the investigation that is used. Now, this is both the research skills continuum and the research level continuum. So whether that may be a research skills continuum, whether there may be a research level continuum, that is detailed in this chapter, are centered on the investigation part, on investigative method of teaching and the learning. The main part is that, the main center is that, the main focus is on the method of the teaching and the learning. That is, what is the main method, or what is the main mode, what is the main content that is used for the teaching and the learning. And beginning with the thorough planning process. So if there is a thorough planning process that is used, so beginning with the thorough planning process and the ending with evaluation, the research skills continuum has its heart the critical information skills of retrieving, processing and the sharing. So whenever we begin with the thorough planning process, if there is a beginning with the thorough planning process, so first is the thorough planning process, and there are multiple stages that is covered, and that ends with the evaluation. The research skill continuum has at its heart the critical method of information retrieving, processing and the sharing. So in simple terms, the starting phase is the planning, ending phase is the evaluation, and in between there are multiple phases, that is the critical information skills that is required, that includes the retrieving, or that includes the retrieving, processing and sharing the information. So that adds hard the critical information skills of the retrieving, processing and the sharing. Now these are the various stages that is covered, and these are the various skills. So first is the planning. Within the planning, these are the various skills, that is establish the topic, then identify the information sources. So first of all, in the planning, first of all we have to establish the topic, that is what is the main topic, we can say what is the main information that we are going to gather, that is establishing the topic. Then next part for the planning is identify the information sources, that is identify the sources from where we gain the information, that is a good information or qualitative information, that is a proper quality will be maintained, that is a qualitative information, that identify the qualitative or identify the information sources. The next is identify the audience and the presentation format, that is what is the audience about, what is the presentation format, that is dealing with this one, that is identify audience and the presentation format. Then next is establish the evaluation criteria, that is establish the evaluation criteria, that is what is the evaluation criteria that is covered, that is how do we evaluate the content, that is establishing the evaluation criteria. Then at last, next is the review process. So first is establish the topic, then next is identify the information sources, then next is identify the audience and the presentation format, then evaluation criteria, then review process. So these are the various phases that is covered under the planning. So that means we have to plan out what is the main topic, what are the various sources, what is the audience, what's their background, what they need, and the presentation format, establish the evaluation criteria, then review the process. So these are the various terms that is used in the planning. The next stage is the information retrieval. In this, the multiple skills are required. That is how to locate the resources. So what are the various resources that is used for locating? That is the locate resources. Then next is the collect resources. So first of all, we have to locate the resources, and after locating, the next step is collecting the resources. That is the collect resources. The next is the review process. So within the planning, multiple skills are required. Within the information retrieval, multiple skills like locate resources, collect resources, and the review process. The next is the information processing. That is the next stage. That includes the skills, that is the choose the relevant information, evaluate the information, organize and record the information. The first is choose the relevant information. That is, out of the available information that is covered, we have to choose the relevant information. The next is the evaluate the information. The next is organize and record the information. That means organize means putting the independent parts or individual parts into the one part, that is the organize, and record the information. Then make the connections and the inferences, that is make the connection from where we can get the data, that is make the hyperlinks, make the URL, and the inferences means the websites from which we can gain the information. Then create the product, that is also a part of the information processing, that the product will be created, then revise and edit, that means making the connection as a revise and edit the content, then review process. That is a part of the information processing. So first stage is the planning, that includes the various skills like establish the topic, identify the information sources, audience and the presentation format, evaluation criteria, review process. Then in the information retrieval, there are the locate resources, collect resources, review process, then information processing, that choose the relevant information, evaluate the information, organize and record the information, make connections and the inferences, create product, revise and update, and then at last there is a review process. And the next stage is the information sharing, that also contain the various skills like how to present the findings. So what are the various modes by which we can present the finding? That may be a group discussion, that may be a PowerPoint presentation, that may be an on-site visit, and anything that we are doing for the information sharing. It may be a GD, it may be a PPT, it may be anything on-site visit. Then the next is the demonstrate appropriate audience behavior. That means choose carried out or demonstrate or go through the appropriate audience behavior. That what is the main audience behavior that is appropriate. Then next is the review process. So that is the information sharing. That is present the finding, demonstrate the appropriate audience behavior, then review process. That is the information sharing. The next is the evaluation. So after the information sharing, the next is the evaluation. And what are the various skills that is required in the evaluation is the evaluate the product, evaluate the research procedures and the skills, then review process. So under the evaluation, these are the skills required, that is evaluate the product, that is we have to evaluate the product, that is the main skill that is covered under, or that is the main skill, that is we can say the skill that is required by the student, that is how to evaluate the product. Then evaluate the research procedures and the skills, that is what are the various research procedures and what are the various skills required, evaluate them, that means identify them or evaluate them whether they are correct or not. Then the evaluate the review process, that is what is the review, that is the process, that is the review process, that is the evaluation or part of the evaluation. These are the 3 points that is covered in the evaluation, that is the evaluate the product, research procedure and the review process. Now this is the overview of the research skills continuum, that is appendix for copyright. Now come to the various stages one by one in detail in this chapter, that is we will discuss various steps, various stages one by one in this chapter. So first stage is the planning, but I'm not going to continue this class right now because I have to discuss the assignment, that is a computer system assignments. I stopped there this class over here only for research skills, but now the class will be moved to the assignment part. All right. So that's all for session for this research skills. Now I'm moving to the assignment part, right? So let's talk about the assignment of the computer system. All right, Larry, are you still there? Larry, are you able to hear me? Larry, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello, hello. Yeah, Larry, shall I continue with the assignment? Okay, how are you, Larry? I'm also good. You are coming after the 2 or 3 days, right? So this is the assignment for the unit number 2, that is a computer system, right? This is the same, the assignment front sheet, the same that we have given in the previous assignments also, that is the assignment front sheet. And this is the qualification that is required for this one, that is the Pearson, BTEC and so on so on. This is the unit name and the title, that is the unit number 2 computer system. You have to submit this assignment within this format only. The front sheet is same for the assignment. Listen carefully. This is same for the assignment. You have to write your name over here. That is a Mr. Larry or whatever your name, Mr. Joseph. That is a student name. This is my name. That is a Himanshu Arora. Then date issued. This assignment is issued to you today. That is the date issued. And the completion date, the target is the 7th December. That is a next to next Monday. Title is to understand the computer system. The main crux is that to understand the computer system. Now these are the various learning outcomes, and I have made this assignment fully in object oriented and in the C language. I made 2 assignments, and one assignment will be given to you, one will be given within 2 or 3 days, but in this I have covered all the outcomes, every outcome in this assignment only. That is only one assignment for the one module, not 2 assignments for this computer system. So it depends on the module to module, right? So these are the various learning outcomes. That is the LO1, that understand the functions of computer system. This is the LO1. The next LO is be able to design the computer systems. That is LO2, and within the LO1 these are the 3 assessment criteria that is covered under the LO1. Then next is the LO2, and there are 2 outcomes, or there are 2 criteria, assessment criteria, that is covered in the LO2. Then LO3, that is be able to build and configure the computer system. That is the LO3. There are again the 2 corrects or 2 criteria, that is the 3.1 and the 3.2. The next is the LO4, that is the learning outcome 4, and there are again the 2 criteria, that is the 4.1 and 4.2. That means in a LO2 only the 3 criteria, otherwise for the LO2, LO3 and the LO4 there are only two criteria that is only used. This is a declaration, that is a learner declaration, your declaration, your signature, you are submitting the date. So this means this front sheet is same, or this sheet is same for each and every student. Now this is the criteria that is given to you in order to find the merit on the distinction or the pass criteria. This you have to study by your own. This is M1, M2, M3, D1, D2, D3, merit and the distinction. Now this is the next page, that is the assignment brief. That is what is the assignment, the same name, title, qualification, start date, deadline, hand-in, assessor, right? Then assignment title, this is the report analysis of this one. Then purpose of the assignment, this is the assignment, that is the main purpose, to develop the, or how to configure and build and maintain the computer system. This is a scenario that is given. One of the person that is working in a mobile phone shop that operate in different coastal towns in the USA, and he or she wants to make the hardware or the software very effective. So that is the main scenario. You have to study. If there is any doubt, you can ask the doubts from me. This is the scenario. Now these are the various tasks based on the scenarios. That is the LO1 is completed in this, and M1 is also completed in this. Now this is the task 2. LO is 2 is completed in this. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, what happened, Larry? Are you able to hear me right now? Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, Larry, now it's clear to you. It's audible to you. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, Larry, it's audible to you right now. Hello, 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 hello. Yes, Larry. Now are you able to hear me? So there is some technical problem from the Larry side, and this assignment is left in between. So what can I do? Mm, I will share this assignment or I will upload this assignment on the LMS, that is from on tomorrow. Positively by tomorrow I will upload this assignment on the LMS. So please share that assignment from LMS only. And I'm also giving this assignment to the email IDs which I have in my account. So I'm sending the email ID for that. All right. So I'm discussing again this computer system assignment in the tomorrow's class. All right. So thank you a lot everyone. Bye bye. We will meet tomorrow with the assignment part as well as the chapter number 3, that is a research component, that is the planning part. All right. So thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye.